So let's, as usual, start at the top and tell us a little bit who you are and why you wrote the book, please.
So that's kind of a deep question. So I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree many, many moons ago. And when I graduated, I will not forget that what I really wanted to do was solve problems, complicated problems and hard problems. But I also wanted to stay technical forever. I remember saying that when I graduated. I'll never go into management. Now, of course, I hired on my first job as GE, and I think we all know that they're kind of famous for training management. So I think I lined my stars up a little bit incorrectly there. And I was on a technical leadership training program, which was absolutely fabulous. That was back in the day when GE created their own leaders. They actually grew them. And one of the ways that they grew them was they gave you stretch assignments. And stretch assignments were fun because they're like bonus assignments in addition to your day job, where you get to prove yourself generally in an area that you knew absolutely nothing about. And so they asked me to co-lead the first GE Diversity Council. And honestly, when they asked me that question, I said, why would you take perfectly good engineering talent to lead a diversity council? And what is it that we are trying to accomplish? And there was kind of one of those, I don't know, slaps in the face that you get from life. And at the time, we were doing a lot of international work. We were building nuclear power plants all over the world. And so we picked up on the cultural aspect of diversity because we were working with a lot of culturally different clients. And we taught the company, what different cultures believe different things. And it was a really cool assignment. But, about 2 years into it, we realized that anything that spoke of diversity was getting dropped in our laps as the council. And we learned a ton of stuff. It was amazing what we learned. And then we looked at our leadership team and they had learned nothing because they dumped everything on us. They didn't go through and pick up any of the lessons that we were picking up. And that was when we had to make some really hard decisions. And so the team got together and we said, you know what? We quit. Because we are interfering with your ability to learn. Because you're giving everything to us. You are not picking up on any of these lessons. And so we quit. Honestly, I thought that might be the last day I was working for GE. But, they have a lot of flexibility. And I think they heard a part of the message, right? They heard a part of the message that they needed to get a little more engaged. So, I worked there for many, many years. And finally, I left there. And, you don't realize what you've got until you don't have it anymore. And I was in a very successful leadership company and actually had been trained by some amazing leaders. And then I went out into the rest of the world in Silicon Valley, and I was shocked by what I saw. You go to GE's training facility, Crotonville, and it's like being at Harvard, honestly. They fly people in, they fly professors in from all over the world. And they teach you all this massive things of what to do. But, as a part of that, there's a lot of case studies of, companies that did it wrong. And it was like walking out into all the bad case studies in the world, into the jobs that I went into. It was absolutely awful. And I thought, well, how can people get anything done when they're not doing the things that they need to do to make people grow and to make people more aware? And this went on. I went through several different jobs in Silicon Valley, mostly doing product management because that's what I had done. And then because I was so devoted to my career, I didn't have my first kid until I was 45. Oh. And then 2 years later, I had twins. And I sent them to a parent participation school. And there you go to school with your kids and you help teach them. And I listened to us repeating to them over and over that life was fair. You know, that you worked hard, you would get your own, and that people were taking care of you and that everything was fair. And then I went to work and it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair at all. In fact, some of the same things that had happened over and over and over again. And, you know, by then I'm mentoring other women, and it's really hard to explain that they could, you know, that we could be in this state and continue to be in this state. And they're like, we've pointed this out, but nothing has changed.
Yeah.
And somehow that dichotomy just smacked me in the head. And I said, you know, life isn't fair. We're lying to our children that this is going to be fair and that everything's going to come out in the wash. That's not how it's currently panning out. And over the course of several years, I think that's when I decided, you know, we can't just continue to lie to our children like this. We should fix this world. We should hand them a better world. We should hand them a place that everybody can flourish, and not hand them what we're currently poised to hand over to them, because all the things we've told them about how they should be are not how our world is. And we're not doing anything to change it. So that's when I decided I wanted to really go into this field. And of course, I'd been looking and studying this for years, right? I've read thousands of books. It's incredible, the information that's out there. But it wasn't continuing to do product management wasn't going to float my boat anymore. It was like, no, I really think we've got to change this, because we had been fixing this for women since I graduated from college, right? And it's like we haven't fixed a thing, really. So I kind of devoted the rest of my life to this, and I said that this is what I'm going to do. I had an opportunity to write the book, to put my thoughts down on paper, if you will, and I did that and published it at the end of last year. And now I'm out to go change the world, because we really should be turning over a better world for our kids, right? We've learned a lot, and there's a lot of things that they can learn, but that's kind of why I wrote the book, and a little bit about who I am as a person.